G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach, providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present my third team update so far for this pre-season on SuperCoach. And I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Brad from SuperCoach Pro. How you doing, mate? Good to see you again.
Yeah, good mate. Good to see you too. Not bad. I was gonna say for a Wednesday, but it's bloody Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was Monday today. I'm losing track. I'm going mental. Um, Look, so Brad's here. We're going to do the same thing on his channel. So for this video, he's going to react to my team update, and he's going to give his thoughts as well on what he thinks about all the picks. Now, for some reason, I see 19,996,400 remaining salary. I promise I'm not hacking. It's just there for some reason. So we're going to do the same thing on Brad's channel as well. So anyway, let's get straight into it. So my first defender I've got is Tom Stewart.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Good
Tom
pick.
Stewart. Yeah, he's just a real. He's just a bloke. I said it in today's video. He's just a bloke. When you don't have him, he absolutely kills you. But as I said in my video as well, but when I have him, for some reason, he turns out crap. So hopefully we can get some big scores early out of Tom Stewart. He could be a real point of difference in climbing up the ranks. What do you think about that, Brad?
I think he's D1 for the year. And I think probably by about 5 or 6 points. So yeah, I reckon it's a great pick for sure. I like it.
Cheers, mate. Now, my D2, I've gone Jordan Dawson from the Adelaide Crows. I think he just has that ability, not like many other players in the competition, where he can just get the job done at any position on the ground and just do an extremely good job. Such an important player for the Crows. Beautiful boot. And yeah, he's my D2, Brad.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think he gets just super good scoring no matter where he plays. So he's a pretty safe D2 and he'll definitely be top four, I think. So yeah, good pick as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to aim towards players that I think that are going to finish well in the defence top eight. And my third bloke, I'm still really strong on this man. Oh, it is Angus Brayshaw for the D's. He's a bit of a pot at the minute. I think I saw some. What is he now? What's his percentage in terms of player ownership? It's at 8%. So he's a bit of a pod for me, but I really do like his consistency and hope. And he's training with the midfield at the minute. So I've got him in there, Brad.
Yeah, I think I'm almost sold on him too. So the back half of his season was unreal. And I think he's training with the mids this season again. So he's a good pick.
Yeah, I flirted with the idea of running two premium defenders, but for now we're just keeping it simple. All
Yep.
right, my D4 I've got is a new recruit to the Smudbar Soldiers. It is Elliot Yeo of the West Coast Eagles. So, I mean, he's just there until he breaks down during pre-season. Nah, in all seriousness, hopefully he can stay healthy because I think when he's up and about, he's going to be a really handy bloke that can be a stepping stone because I don't think he'll last the whole season. But if he can just play for those first 8, 10 rounds, that'd be extremely handy, Brad.
Yeah, well, he's average 100 so many years beyond. So I think that's the thing. People forget that these injury prone players, we actually only need 8, 9 games out of them to be a stepping stone. So I think it's a great pick for that price as well. Worst case scenario could always go up if you had the cash to sale them. So there is options around his price as well. Pretty good pick.
Yeah, exactly. He's just got such a high ceiling when he's up and about. My D5, it's a bit of a drop off, but I have got the new West Coast rookie in Ruben Gimby, another new addition. In the match sims, he's been rotating off the halfback and midfield, so I really like his prospects of being a cheeky cash cow for us in 2023, Brad.
Yeah, I rate it. I've heard good things about him in the preseason as well. So yeah, I reckon I'll
Yeah,
give him a shot. So a good pick.
yeah. And last one, don't worry, I'm not forgetting about this bloke. My D6 is Connor McKenna. I don't think there's really much explanation needed, to be honest. He's going to be a really important part of Brisbane for the Brisbane Lions. He's certainly best 22 when up and about. And yeah, I just think he's going to be an important part for this season, Brad.
Yeah, I think you get plenty of games, especially early on. So yeah, he's a great cash cow this year, I reckon as well. Good pick.
Cheers. Now at D7, I've got Josh Weddle. He's a bit stiff to be on the bench, but At the minute, this is how I'm running it at the minute. So I think Whittle plays early, Brad.
Yeah, well, you're the Hawks man, so I'm just taking your word for it. So yeah, go for it.
Cheers, mate. And lastly, Charlie Dean could get a game. We'll just have to wait and see what the prognosis is on Darcy Moore. I think he's doing a bit better now in pre-season, but yeah, we're just gonna have to see what his prospects are for round one, Brad.
Yeah, I think Darcy Moore's just started training again, so he reckons he's ready for round one. But if not, I think Dean's in the mix anyway. He was last year before he got injured, so I think he's one of the rookies we might be able to start this year as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly say Billy Frampton's a guarantee to be a best 22 player as well.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. All
Yeah, I
right.
was going to say, I don't even know why
Sorry,
he's.
go on.
That's the first time I've done that. I was going to say, I
Yeah.
don't know been put in best 22 squads that I've seen on some websites. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I guess Collingwood fans are rating him pretty highly, others are not. So it'll be interesting to see. My M1 and my captain early days for round one is Clayton Oliver for the D's. He's just, I think, he's just one of those blokes that is rarely going to go down in price. He's so reliable as a captain. He drops the odd bad score here and there, but I just think he's a real safe premium at the minute, Brad.
Yeah, he's an absolute premium, and he's at the right age as well. And he's got the two best ruckmen in the league feeding it to him, so I can't see him going down. So I think it's a great pick.
Cheers, mate. And my M2 is going to be the Bont in Bontempelli. No Josh Dunkley. That should increase a bit more midfield time for Bontempelli. He was playing a bit. He was playing a bit injured last season, so I think there'll be more opportunity for him to be even better than he was last year, Brad.
I think so too, and he gets points for even being on the bench. So I reckon it's great. Yeah.
Champion data, absolute love that man. At M3, I'm stuck with this pod for a little bit. It's Darcy Parish for the Essendon Football Club. I just think he's a real. He's just cemented in that Essendon midfield very nicely. If he can stay on the park, he dealt with a couple of injuries last year, but if he has a full fit and firing preseason under a new coach of Brad Scott, I think he will see the 2021 version of him next season. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I think he's a little bit risky, but I think he's a make it or break it. I reckon he'll actually shoot you up there, especially if he has a really hot start. So I like the pick, and yeah, it takes a lot of balls to pick that. That's for sure. I like it.
Yeah, and the thing as well is he's playing Hawthorn round one. Hawthorn are probably going to leak a lot of points in that midfield. But let's hope that McGuinness tags Merritt and not Parish. So that, I mean, if I'll go the other bloke, the bloke who's not getting tagged, if that's the case. So a new addition to my side is Tom Green, purely for money reasons. I was running a bit low on the old cash and I had to go with someone like Tom Green. I usually like going it a bit more safe, a bit more set in stone for premium midfielders that I know can get the job done. But I'm expecting a bit of a breakout year out of Tom Green. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I think it would just be him, Cogs, and I forget the third one in there. So with Hopper and Taranto leaving, I just think he's got to be the one. I'm just more worried about his back end of the season if he drops off fitness-wise. But I think he's a good pick too. I think our sides are starting to look really similar, which is scary. So that's a good shout.
No, I agree. Hopefully he can play for the whole season. I'm not totally sold on the pick, but he's just there for now. At M5, I'm going to go with Jacob Hopper, another bloke that doesn't really need much explanation. He's going to be playing a lot more time in the midfield for your Tigers and will be a very important part of that Richmond midfield. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he got up to like 580k at some point. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I think he almost could be a keeper. I reckon he could average about 105 and maybe even be an M8 for the year. He might be one of those sort of Will Brodie picks for the year. So I reckon it's a great shout.
Yeah, I'm very happy with Hopper being an option for us this year. My M6 is going to be Will Ashcroft, a bloke that should be playing each and every week for the Lions. Chris Fagan did say last year that he could have even played for us last year, and he was a 17-year-old kid. So that just shows how talented he is. I think he'll rotate off the halfback in midfield. Probably spend. I'm not too sure that he's going to be as good as Nick Dacos last year, but I think he's going to be a real solid rookie for us, Brad.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be one of the fastest super coach cash cows this year. So I reckon majority of people have to start him this year. The only sub risk is the only thing for him, but I guess we'll sort of see how he runs out the practice matches going into the season as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be a common theme for my side. I'm trying to keep as many rookies off the field as I can because that tactical sub rule, I reckon it's going to be a real pain in the ass for this season. So that's probably why you're not seeing many 123k blokes on my field. My M7 is Cam McKenzie. The Hawthorn players are calling him Frenchie this year. He spent a year in France. I think McKenzie is just a beautiful kick from what I've seen. He's done really well in the match sims. Haven't heard too much about him, but I've heard enough to where he looks really comfortable at training so far, Brad.
Yeah, I've actually heard an article, I think it was yesterday, about him, or might have even been today. So they reckon he's in the mix for round one. So, yeah, not a bad one too. I mean, you'll know closer to round one more than anyone would as a Hawk supporter, so it's probably a good pick.
I'll tell you what, it's still a bit of a juggling act. I think with most sides, you can say, all right, I know this bloke. I know most of the team's going to be there. It's a bit up in the air with the Hawks at the minute with the way they're setting up. So it'll be interesting to see. My M8 is Will Phillips, who I am expecting to have a giant season. Alistair Clarkson. I've mentioned this in a video before. I think Hawthorn were going to take Will Phillips if he was still on the board, but he went a little bit early to North. But I think there's obviously a bit of a connection between Clarko and Phillips. So I think Will Phillips is certainly better than his current price tag, and I think we're expecting him to be a very decent cash cow, Brad.
Yeah, they reckon he's tearing up the track as usual in preseason hype, but and he had glandular or fever. I can't even say that word. I think he had it
Twice.
last.
Yeah.
So no, should be on everyone's list this year for sure.
Yeah, I've got him locked and loaded. I'd be very surprised if he left my side unless there's an injury. We'll quickly run over the bench here. We've got Oscar Baker, who I do expect to play a bit of a wing role, Brad.
Yeah, I think he is meant to as well because they had the departure of, was it Hunter that left?
Yep, Lockie Hunter went to Melbourne.
Yeah, and I think Oscar Baker's from Melbourne and he sort of played that wing role. So I think more in the VFL though. I don't know how many games he actually got for Melbourne last year, but yeah, rumour is he might have a wing spot there. So I guess we'll find out close to round one as well.
I could be very wrong, but I reckon he might have been a bit injury riddled throughout his Melbourne career. But another thing that attracts me to him early days is he's got a few more years in the body compared to some of these 123k rookies. I really do like that. So the Dogs can find these players just out of nowhere. Anthony Scott, Lockie McNeil, who's the other one? McComb. So yeah. I expect him to play a bit of game time actually this year. Joe Richards, he's just there because of the mid forward swing. I have taken that into consideration, but they'll obviously change. But Richards, a few years under the belt already. He's a 22-year-old, but we'll see if he can get any games for the Pies, mate.
Yeah, I think it's just safe having a forward mid mix in there anyway, starting round one. So even if you get one at 117k that has a green light ready to go, at least you can sort of swap up a primo if you need to, and use your bench wisely that way. So yeah, good pick.
Yeah, exactly. And then lastly, I'll just quickly talk about him. Jason Gilby. No reason. He's just my mid defense swing for the time being. Now, obviously, I'm going to adjust this throughout the preseason. I'm not going to have this many 102k blokes. There's going to be another one at R3. He's just there just for the time being. So I don't even need your thoughts on him. He's just one to bypass. Now, R1 for me is Tim English for the Dogs. Apparently, he's been training really well. It's been a common theme with a lot of these players in the preseason. One way to get up those membership numbers in preseason, but I think Tim English has just been, from what I've heard, really good. I'm going to be targeting rucks that are the sole rucks because we know that the tactical sub rules there. So we're going to see more sides just take off their second ruckman. And I'd be very surprised if Tim English got subbed out. He should be the sole ruck. Rory Lobb might do the odd chop out, but yeah, he's my R1 at the minute, mate.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the safest R1s out there, along with Wits. There's only 20k difference, but at least, with English and with some players like that, they are really R1, and there's not really anyone really pushing him either. So, no, good pick.
Cheers, mate. Now, we've had discussions about this bloke before, and you are absolutely going to hate it. I've got Darcy Cameron at R2 at this stage. And he did get injured. Apparently, he limped off in a training drill or something. But it seems like he's all good. He's back out at training. He's just there as a placeholder at the minute because I reckon there's so many question marks about the rucks at this stage. I'd rather have a bloke like Cameron who could be my F6 for the year and just wait and see who's actually going to be the bloke that steps up and becomes a really important ruck player to have for 2023, mate.
Yeah, I thought about this one a lot. It's probably the only one I probably disagree with. But that's opinions anyway. But I think I don't really want to wait 14 rounds to find out who the R1 is. I'm pretty confident in about 3 or 4 guys, and I just don't want to lose, a couple 100 points throughout the season and hoping that Cameron's going to also finish F6, because I think we'll get some good mids that, probably by the end of the year, Cameron might be ranked 12th forward. So I think there'll be too many DPP status changes for me to look at Cameron. And I owned him last year, watched his games with Mason Cox, and he'd cop a lot of shin injuries and then play forward for all the games. So unless I see him go off in the off season, I probably won't do it, only because I watched the last probably dozen games of him and was a little bit disappointed with his little patchy sort of run. But I mean, Collingwood supporters probably know better. If Cox isn't around name 1, then I'll probably take it. That's how I put it.
Yeah, I think you've brought up some really good points, and we can't all agree on everything. If we all agreed on everything, we'd be a pretty boring pair. So, yeah, I've got Cameron in there. I think another thing that's going to help with him is a full preseason as a ruck. I don't think that was the case last year, of course, due to Brody Grundy, but here we are. Nick Madden, won't touch on him much. He's just my loophole along with many others, 44% owned, so that's pretty clear. Now, my F1, this shouldn't even be a debate. It's Josh Dunkley for the Brizzy Lions. He's come over in a trade from the Dogs, and we see Lockie Neal get tagged every single week. And who's going to be a beneficiary of that? Josh Dunkley. He's going to be playing full-time mid. I reckon he's going to be I'm going to make a big call and say he could be a top 10 player. We'll be talking about him as a top 10 player at the end of the season. So I really rate him that highly, and I think he's going to be fantastic, mate.
Yeah, I think he's a great pick. I think you're almost spot on, because I think if it was 2 years ago, he was averaging like 120 or something before he even got injured. So he's got the potential to do it. And Neil will got the tag before Dunkley does. So, yeah, I think he's almost a VC option as well throughout the season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy it while we can, super coaches. This is probably going to be our last year of Josh Dunkley as a forward. So he might be a midfield option for us in 2024. All right. F2. To be honest, I haven't really touched much of these forward premiums. I've just kind of left them and haven't really given it much thought. But it's Connor Rosie. In the match sim, he played full-time mid at Port Adelaide. And I just think he's just a bloke ready to stand out and be a big, important player, big-time player for Port Adelaide in hoping for Port Adelaide to have a better season, mate.
Yeah, I like the Rosie pick. I think he'll be a bit of a pod this season. I almost prefer Butters if he wasn't so injury-prone over Rosie, just because Butters is a better forward, and Rosie he's more of an impact in the midfield than what he does up forward, in my opinion. And Butters seems to rack it up a little bit more. But Rosie's back after the year was apparently pretty good. So you never know. I just want to see Boak play a little bit more forward before I touch any Port Adelaide mids. But I think he's going to be thereabouts in top 6. So, yeah, it's a good shout for sure.
Cheers, mate. Well, I think you'd love to know that in the latest Port Adelaide match sim, Boak was a forward. So I think that's interesting little nugget there. Now, your man, another GWS midfielder coming along, Timmy Taranto at F3. Yeah, you'd be absolutely stoked about it, mate. He's just a bloke that I feel like is just ready to take the next step, but we just haven't quite seen it. Now, that might be due to Leon Cameron playing him in crap positions, or he's just been a little bit underdone. But he's looking amazing in pre-season. He won the 2K time trial twice, one before Chrissy, one after Chrissy. He's looking absolutely ready to go, mate.
Yeah, I mean, every social media thing towards Richmond, they're just absolutely hyping him up. Like you said, won the trials. I think even his game style has been critic of like his disposal efficiency going forward, but we don't really care about that because normally our game plan is just kick it forward and Lynch and Revolt get it anyway. So I think his kicking will be actually all right with the way we play, and I just see him as probably I think he finishes just behind Dunkley as F2 if I'm honest. So yeah, he's a good pick this season for sure.
Well, you're a Tigers man. I'm sure you know all about their game plan. I'm sure his kicking was probably his main knock, but by the sounds of it, it seems like he'll be a lot better at it. Now at F4, I've stuck with this bloke for a little bit. I've heard some ripping things about him. It is Sam Flanders, who I expect to be a bit of a pod at this point in time. But I think he had his own personal trainer during the off season. He's in great nick. He's looking really good. So I'm hearing all the good things. I'm going to need an Amy series match or two to convince me further. But he's just there for the time being, mate.
Yeah, I like the pick. I'm just worried about his job security, like everyone else would be. I mean, they're hyping up saying he's having an unreal preseason. So I guess, like you said, we'll just have to wait and see what he does in the preseason games. If he does nothing and he's just preseason hype, just in training, then that'd be something. But yeah, I guess we'll just find out round one.
I'm going to be having a close eye on his role for that preseason match for sure. If he's playing that same role, half forward sort of thing, then I'll be looking elsewhere, mate. Now, my F5 is a pretty basic one. Toby McLean hasn't been able to stay on the park. I think he had what surgery? I think he had a hand surgery over Christmas, but apparently still looking really good. And I think it's just a pretty basic one. He should be a really nice cash cow for us, Brad.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the best locks up forward. So yeah, he'd be a good pick this year.
Yep, pretty set in stone. What isn't set in stone is my F6's job security, but I've gone with Josh Bruce, who's a new addition to the team. If the rumours are true that he is playing an intercept defender, and if he can play, that means great things for his as him as an option for 2023. I think if you're looking at a bloke who's playing an intercept role at 160k, he's obviously a more experienced player, so he's had a lot of pre-seasons under his belt. I'm very interested to see his prospects for this year, mate.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of those ones where you can pick. If he does go sour, you could always go up to Ben King, I think, from Gold Coast as well. So you can sort of suss out by round 2 and then use the trade boost if you need to get rid of that sort of price tag. But yeah, he's got the role for it and he's better than the key forward. So yeah, pretty good pick, I'd say.
Yeah, and then we'll just quickly wrap this up because we're going to record the same thing on Brad's channel. So get that going. So I've gone Fergus Green should be playing a bit of game time for the Hawks as their forward line's looking very thin. And I've got Matt Allison from St Kilda at this stage because Campbell's out till Tom Campbell's out till March. He's not back to full train till March. Max King's going to be out for 6 weeks, first 6 weeks of the season, and same thing with Jack Hayes, I believe. So I think that opens the door for Matt Allison to be a potential round 1 option. I'm not totally sold on it, but yeah, that's my pick. That's my team.
Yeah. Done. Looks good.
Cheers, mate. So we were discussing right before the video that we're going to look to do a head-to-head league together. So me and Brad are going to be in it. You guys have the opportunity to play us throughout the season, and I'll be doing a couple of leagues of my own. I think Brad will be doing the same thing as well individually. And yeah, look, we need to record this video with Brad. So hope you guys are enjoying SuperCoach being open. I certainly am. I can't get off the bloody thing. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.